Hello and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, a Centers for Spiritual Living teaching center. I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. I am the founder and the spiritual director. Now, as you are sitting there joining us, you may have questions, any number of questions, such as, who am I? How did I get here? Spiritually integrated arts means what exactly? What is a teaching center? Well, what is Centers for Spiritual Living? What is that? What does that even mean? Or New Thought, or religious science, or science of mind and spirit? You may have any number of questions about this specific community, about the parent organization, CSL, our philosophy, our teaching, our liberation theology. Any number of questions. Feel free to send an email. We look forward to connecting more and building our virtual community, our global community. And if you haven't connected yet on social media, feel free to do so. This is your invitation now. Also, did you know that all of our Sunday messages are archived on our YouTube channel? You can watch it anytime. Now, questions about anything, such as becoming a member. What does that mean? What does membership entail? And if you live somewhere far and already belong to a spiritual community, can you be a member of more than one? The simple answer is yes, you can. Just like you can shop at more than one grocery store, you can attend or be a member of more than one gym. We are building beloved community. So you can do both. You can be a member of both. You can be involved with both. That's what being in spiritual community means. So we welcome you. We invite you. We are so appreciative that you have found this community and that you have joined us today. We bless you. We love you. We welcome you. Live long and prosper. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of our Sunday message. Love you. Connect with you soon. Blessings. Namaste and greetings. March 31st. Don't go back to sleep. Stay awake. We got stuff to discuss. Hello and welcome to our final day of the month where we are discussing the theme, that's how we've never done it. And today's title, Don't Go Back to Sleep. Even as we learn to more fully embody the truth of our divine humanness, we're reminded this is a journey, not a destination. The ever further unfolding expression of spirit's perfect pattern for our world requires our conscious and active participation. Even in those old nursery rhymes and children's stories about the happily ever after, even with that, there is this necessity, there is this aspect of consciousness that requires us to continue to be attentive, to continue to have our intentionality as we move into. Because happily, joyfully, in a healthy manner, whatever it is, ever after what? Happily ever after today, happily ever after this breath, happily ever after this Monday. Whatever the happily ever onward is, it requires us to be aware, to have our attention and our intention set, focused, purposeful. And you may have noticed this idea of happily ever after when it comes to a world that works for all, we're not there yet. The process continues. The prayers continue. The boots on the ground continue. The practice deepens, continues. Just like breathing, continues. Just like the earth moving around the sun continues. Stars in the sky continues. That which is life, infinite, eternal, and ever expanding, continues. So we set our intention to stay conscious, to stay awake, to live from and as love, and to continue to embrace, to express infinite possibilities, probabilities, inevitabilities. And so once again, don't go back to sleep. How many of you remember what movie this comes from, this scene, this image? How many of you remember which pill is which pill? One of them wakens you up. One of them gives you the ability to see the matrix for what it is. And the other one lets you go back into the matrix, forgetting all about the matrix and, in essence, going back to sleep. Neo was given the option of taking the red pill or the blue. The red pill would enable him to understand what was actually occurring within this thing called the matrix, the illusion of the matrix. The blue pill would allow him to return to experiencing only the illusion. In other words, it would let Neo go back to sleep. Neo chose awareness, understanding. He chose to be woke. Which pill would you choose? Dennis Merritt Jones says, your entire life is a sacred experience. So you can go through life looking for an experience out there, or you can awaken to the fact that you are a spiritual experience. Wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are a spiritual experience. Isn't it funny how often we separate and segregate? This is spiritual, that's not. It's not here, it's over there, it's that person, that thing, that place, rather than recognizing that all of life, wherever we are, God is. And it is our invitation, our call to aliven the entire planet to that realization. In other words, when we recognize, when we are conscious, and when we are doing the work of peace, then even places where there is war must change. And it begins with a ceasefire. And then it goes into diplomatic discussions and conversations. Then it goes into changing policies, having compassion, sending aid and assistance, and all of this stuff. And then the consciousness shifts. And then there is no more need for war at all. And in the grand scheme of things, war as a consciousness within the collective is eradicated. It becomes extinct. We do that though, because there is only one life, and that life is God. There is only one mind, and that mind is God. God is all there is. So when we move through life, knowing that we ourselves are a sacred experience, we are holiness, living, moving, and having its being, then there is no more simply secular or simply mundane activities from that awareness. Then you realize exactly what you are and what you're capable of doing. And it changes your relationships. It changes your self-esteem. It changes the way you serve. It changes how you show up in the world. It changes how you recycle. It changes so many things, everything. Morpheus told Neo, I'm trying to free your mind, Neo, but I can only show you the door. You're the one who has to walk through it. We know this idea by you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I don't know why I did that accent. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make the horse drink. See, we can have all of these classes and offer various things in a spiritual community. We can do all that stuff. But until each one of us individually, and then more of us collectively in small groups, and then larger groups, and then societies, et cetera, until we do the work, until we engage the practice, until we embody it and live it, all we're doing is pointing at the door. We're pointing to peace. We're pointing to a world that works for all. We're pointing at it. Dr. King spoke of the dream. We can see it, we can point at it, but until we are ready to go through the door and live it, it remains out of reach. So what is our invitation? How do we more actively, more consciously practice science of mind and spirit? mental health care, physical health care, etc. How do we engage all of what we are? By any chance, thought I had a copy right here. By any chance, did you read the article that I wrote for the January issue of Science of Mind magazine? When I said there's work to be done and we are invited to rise in relevance, rise in relationship, right? Like, talked about some of that stuff. And until we are ready to embody it and have relationship, to embody it and be more relevant to people, to embody it and do the work that we are invited to do. Till we do that, they're just words on a page. These are slides on a screen, a video on social media and on YouTube. Are we ready to open and walk through the door? Dr. Holmes says, our individualized universe is forever complete, yet forever completing itself, in order that every experience may teach us to transcend some previous one in ever ascending cycles, upward bound. One remix, that every experience may offer us the experience which we may choose to learn something from. Because for something to teach, there is no teach. The experience is what the experience is, and what we do with it is what we do with it. For example, you go to see, say, the Alvin Ailey Dance Company. Well, when you watch them dance, are they teaching you something? Or are they offering you something? Now, what you see in the dance may actually open something up regarding harmony, balance, creativity, but they're not teaching that. The universe isn't teaching that, it's offering. And in the offering, I may be inspired. In the offering, my emotions may awaken in a different way. The experience is offering. And what we do with that offering is entirely up to us. So, in order that every experience may offer us something that we may transcend, to open more in ever ascending cycles, much like the Buddhist symbol of the unalome, which we also use when we get to the slide with the questions for Thursday night study group and for journaling. If you notice in the lower left hand, there is the spiral, the unalome. It implies a visual representation of this ever ascending spiral upward into enlightenment. And yet, as it spirals up, there is also the spiraling down, both and. And the experience offers us the opportunity to be in the both and. Breathe. Oh, I could have had a V8. No, that's not what he's saying. He's saying, I always forget that I am whole, perfect, and complete, and that I have access to the divine. Why do I keep forgetting? How many times have we said something referencing that? You do this whatever prayer or meditation and something. It's so hard to remember that I keep forgetting that oneness, unity, whatever. Forget. But what if it's not that we forget? What if it's It really isn't, because there is that phrase, and who says it is not coming to my mind right now. Once the mind has been expanded to a new idea, it never goes back to its previous dimension. So once you know that you are the divine, once you know that you are the universe experiencing itself, you don't go back to the I don't know. Once you've been set free in the matrix, you don't go back to, unless you, in terms of the story, unless you choose to take the blue pill, but there is no blue pill for us. We can be ignorant of and we can act the part of, but we can't really, really forget. So then what is it then? It's whatever it is out of our frame of reference. So we're not really forgetting. We're just not focusing on it. In the same way that if I were to ask you whatever room you are currently in, say you're uh, say you're in the dining room in terms of this image. You're in the dining room. And if you look around the dining room, you're going to see what's in the dining room. But does that mean you don't know what's in the bathroom? You can't see what's in the bathroom. Because you can't see it, does that mean you forgot? Not really. It just means it's not in your frame of reference in this present moment. Now, I know there are times when we will say, where did I put the car keys? I don't remember. I forget. Once again, if yesterday I put them here, I know I put them there, and I went and did whatever it is I went and did, and we say we forgot. But there is that part of our consciousness that knows but we were so busy doing something else, our focus, our attention went elsewhere and completely moved this to the background where it's not even in the foreground enough to even, when we look in the foreground, because to emphasize the point of being out of focus, how many times have you, I just looked there though. I looked there 3 times. How did I miss? Because your focus was elsewhere. You didn't forget. You were just focused differently. You didn't forget that you were God. You didn't forget that you were the divine. You didn't forget that you were love incarnating. You didn't forget any of that. It's out of focus. It's out of your frame of reference. Excuse me. It's out of your frame of reference. So when we go from this frame of reference and expand it, ever ascending, ever spiraling upward, and we expand and expand, then our frame of reference becomes wider and wider and wider until it's panoramic. It's 3-dimensional. And from that frame of reference, it's far easier to live into and to embody the truth of your being. Dr. Holmes offers, wake up. I almost broke it. Wake up, little Susie, wake. Wake up. Good morning, science of mind. Your word is all powerful. Your consciousness is one of omnipotence. Your thought is infinite. Your destiny, more about that in a moment, is eternal, and your home is everlasting heaven. Your destiny. Your destiny. Where's your destiny coming from? What's determining that that's your destiny? I want to make sure that we are clear that we are not anthropomorphizing and making our destiny as though it's coming from somewhere or someone else. Your destiny is to be. Now, what you do with that is entirely up to you. You are the creator of that destiny. So if you say, I am destined to be a sign language teacher, I am destined to be an interpreter, I am destined to have my own company, no one gave you that. The divine incarnated in, through, and as you, through all of the things that life presented, your personality, your character, your skills and talents, all of these things developed, both the innate and that which you learn from the outside in, and you chose what to do with it. And your home is everlasting heaven. Well, what does our we believe statement regarding heaven say? We believe that heaven is within and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. So your home is the consciousness of the truth of your being. You ever heard the phrase, home is where you hang your hat? Home is where you know that your consciousness is that of the divine. Home is when you know that you are a spiritual experience. As Dorothy sang in The Wiz, when I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. When I think of home, I am that place where love is overflowing. Joy is overflowing. Home. Click your heels together 3 times and say, right where I am is home. Ram Dass says, if you think you're enlightened, go home for Thanksgiving. It could be any holiday. I've also heard him say, referencing this, spend time with your family for the weekend. If you think you are enlightened, go home. Spend time with your family for Thanksgiving. Why would he say that? Because no matter how enlightened we think we are, excuse me, Mr. Monk, what are you doing? No matter how enlightened we think we are, if we're not actively doing, and even if we are actively doing, there may be times when the anger shows up, the frustration shows up, the triggering occurs. So when we're home for Thanksgiving, these people know us. There was a movie, don't remember what the movie was, but when the movie was coming on, it had this quote, "You cannot hide from your fears. They are a part of you and always know where you are hiding." Something to that effect. This is why family can trigger us, whether they're doing it intentionally or not. They know us. We know them. There's an emotional and a psychological and a relational investment that is easily triggered in these instances. So how do we address this? Well, we recognize that as the practice as well. Once again, don't compartmentalize and make spirituality and spiritual practice about what you do in church or in your center, in your temple, on your meditation cushion. Spiritual practice is also, how do you sit at a table with family members who may be diametrically opposed in all things belief, politics, education, etc. First, why are you there? If it's that difficult, why go? You have a choice. But if you are going to go, then why not use everything that you are as a spiritual experience to change and transform the environment? Why not be the embodiment of, may I love myself as I am? May I love you as you are? May everyone love themselves as they are. Embody that. Embody the meditation or meta prayer. Embody it and become it. May I be happy and free from suffering. May you be happy and free from suffering. May all in my family be happy and free from suffering. Because when we're living, and I mean embodied living that, then we are able to recognize that our role in this experience is complete. Doesn't mean that they are immediately going to change. We can point to the door, doesn't mean they're going to walk through it. We can offer the water, doesn't mean they're going to drink it. But our role to be the embodiment of peace, our role to have that sacred no that says, if this is how dinner is going to be, I bless you all. I will see you for Christmas or whatever, and leave if that's what it is. But no matter what, when we are in this space, then our role here is complete. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with thee. Breathe. When I used to speak at Unity by the Bay, and they're not the only ones who sing it, but they would sing, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And, I started, because it's what Ray does. I tweaked it and said, well, that's putting it in the future. What if we sang it as, yes, there is peace on earth, and it has begun with me, or because it began with me. Once again, the invitation is, if we want there to be peace on earth, then how do we become it? How do we become the embodiment of, as I said, the meta prayer? If I'm going to say, may I be happy and free from suffering, then what does that look like? What is the work to make that happen? And when I get to, may all be happy and free from suffering, how am I projecting that energy, projecting that blessing, projecting that prayer into the world by how I show up? Does that mean we're not going to feel angry or frustrated or whatever? No, but it means it need not control us. We feel it. It grumbles. And like any good moment of flatulence, let it go. Hold your breath if you must. Move to the other room if you must. But don't hold it in. You get my point? John O'Donohue says, of the many callings in the world, the invitation to the adventure of an awakened and full life is the most exhilarating. This is the dream of every heart. So there are many callings, called to be a teacher, called to be a parent, called many callings to engage in this thing called life. And what he is saying is the invitation to live awakened, to live fully in this thing called life. That is the most exhilarating. that is the most rewarding. And truly, because of who and what we are as the spiritual experience, that dream, that invitation, that calling is in every heart. Just as the call to awaken was in Neo's heart. But would you, Neo, would you say? What? Dr. Holmes said what? Oh, Dr. Holmes said form is entirely in the realm of effect. Form comes and goes, but it is not self-knowing. Form is within the formless. Form is not an illusion. Pause. I want to drive that home because there are many folks who believe and teach that this thing called life and war and famine and etc. is an illusion. It is not. It is an experience. So again, Dr. Holmes says, form is not an illusion, even when it is the form of disease. It then represents a false conclusion, but it is as real as it is supposed to be. Now, there's work to be done. If it represents a false conclusion, how do we get to a true or accurate conclusion? In order to heal the disease, eradicate the disease, no matter how the disease is showing up, the disease of war, the disease of racism, etc. Dr. Holmes also says, the kingdom of God on earth is just as real as the kingdom of God in heaven. Now, he's using very Christian language, but we understand the meta meaning because heaven is here when we see it. We believe that heaven is within and that we will experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. The kingdom of heaven includes our physical bodies, our physical environment, and everything that we are doing that is good, that is right, that is just, that is equitable. And one more, he says, I believe everything is as real as it is supposed to be. If a person hurts, they hurt. If they feel badly, they cry. There is want, there is lack, and apparent limitation in this human experience, and there is no use denying it. But perhaps it doesn't need to be. Perhaps it's not intended to be, which means we have the invitation to heal it and transform it. Benj Pasek and Justin Paul offer us, and we know we can't go back again to the world we were living in because we're dreaming with our eyes wide open. They're the two, in case you don't know who they are the songwriters for the film, the musical, The Greatest Showman. And we know we can't go back again to yesteryear, to making America. We can't go back again to that world that we were living in because we're dreaming with our eyes wide open of a world that works for all. Eyes wide open, awake. Eyes wide open, expanded focus, expanded awareness, eyes wide open. Science of mind and spirit can be likened to the red pill. But the thing is, just taking the pill is not and can never be enough. Like Neo, once he knew that the matrix was what it was, once he knew, oh, this is the matrix, and oh, this is what it is and what it does, and this is what it's for, he changed how he showed up. He changed and became a liberator for those who also desire to be free. So the question is, what are we individually and collectively most needing and wanting to be free from? Right? Because there's free from and there's free to. Harriet Tubman, free from slavery, free to live her best life in equity, justice, and democracy. What are we most needing and wanting to be free from and free to? Because we cannot manifest what we cannot identify. This is why being able to describe what a world that works for all actually means as a lived experience is important. This is why it's important, because we cannot manifest what we cannot identify. This week's affirmation declaration, I will say it first. If it resonates with you, say it with me on the second go round. I embrace infinite possibility as I live the love I am. Together. I embrace infinite possibility as I live the love I am. Breathe. See it in the lower corner? Down, it's right. Somewhere. Yeah. Up, 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 up. Right there. Yep. There. Okay. That's the Unalome. Spiral, spiral, circle, elevate, elevate. Science of mind teaching symbol, since it's pertaining to us. In other traditions, the Buddhist tradition, you may see somewhere it's a lotus. You may see the Om symbol, or it may simply spiral up, and then there are several dots to say that it even gets to a point where the line that connects is gone, and it's simply the space that continues to rise. Question number one. Do you have a regular meditation practice? If so, describe your process or the type of meditation that you do. Is it Vipassana meditation? Do you do a mala meditation where, if you have your mala bead and you go through, may I be at peace. May I be free from, may I be at peace. May I be free from. And then you go all the way around. May you be at peace. May you, and then you go all the way around, right? So is that the kind of meditation that you do? Do you recite a mantra? Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Do you have a regular prayer practice? A regular visioning practice? Journaling? Or something else? And how regular is regular? Once a day? Once a week? I haven't meditated in a month. How regular is regular, and how consistent is regular? Number two, describe a time in your life when you felt the need for a mental or emotional or a spiritual reboot. What was the reason for the reboot? What was going on that made you need the reboot?
And what exactly did you do to reboot? How did you refresh and revive and reawaken? Number three, what support system or systems have you developed to help keep you awake and on track? Do you have accountability partners? Do you belong to a mastermind group? Is there some other kind of support group that you are part of for any various areas of your life? What kind of support do you get from your support system? Is it emotional support? Is it technical support? Spiritual support? What exactly does the group or does your support system give or offer? And number four, lastly, finish these two sentences. If I were enlightened, I would what? And lastly, question number two or sentence number two, fill in the blank. Because I am enlightened and enlightening, now I what? Okay. And so we enter into that space of prayer where we are infinitely and ever awake, awakening, awakened, always expanding. Because the prayer moves us into a space of expanded panoramic awareness. It's a bird's eye view of truth where we are able to recognize, oh, looking down on the streets, oh, there's a traffic jam. And prayer says, oh, here's a way to circumvent that. Here's a way to move around that. Here's a way to move beyond that effect with ease and grace. I see the discord, and here's a way to transcend it, transmute it, to heal it. I feel the pain, and here's a way to transmute, to transcend, to heal it. I turn on the news, and here's a way to transmute, transcend, and heal all of it. As our Declaration of Principles says, we believe the ultimate goal of life to be a complete freedom from, emancipation from, liberation from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all, and prayer gives us the capacity to do that work, individually and collectively, to do that work, to live as spiritual experience, spirit expressing, as prayer, navigating life, as my life as a living document, my life as prayer shows up in this way, my life as the very constitution of the universe shows up as. That is what this is. That is what we do. That is what we are right here and right now. And the law says yes. The law says yes. That means it's already done. Now, our invitation, as I ended in the Science of Mind magazine article, when Jesus said, move the stone, Lazarus, come forth. And Jesus instructed them, remove the bindings, remove the bandages, remove the wrappings, because there's work to be done. And that work is our work to do. We are the Imagineers. We are the makers of the blueprint. We are the architects. We are the construction workers. We are the interior decorators of a world that works for all. We are the landscapers. Breathe. And let what is be what it is. Answered prayer. And so it is. And so it is. Namaste, blessings, much love and appreciation. Once again, we do not, do we have, I don't remember if we have an after, I don't know if we have fellowship today. I don't remember. I don't think we do. I'm pretty sure we don't. See you in April.